In this tutorial video, I will describe the use of the link plots functionality of KIWI ExploreLive. Link plots are a set of up to 4 plots that implement cross-interactivity. You can use this feature to investigate whether patterns observed in one variable can be related to specific distribution of other variables and potentially explain what you have observed in this original variable. I will illustrate the use of basic settings, such as the selection of the data source, the selection of the variables controlling your 4 different plots. More importantly, I will describe how you can use the cross-interactivity in the 4 different plots. I will also cover the use of more advanced settings. I have this ExploreLive session open in which a dataset has already been uploaded. It's called demo.csv and is a simulated pharmacokinetic dataset with many variables, many subjects, many records. I have created a modified version of this dataset in which I kept only the first record per subject. I will use this dataset to create my link plots. I will, for that, I click on the plot menu and select the link plots option. Quite typically of the plot submodules, you can see a very large plot area in which the plot will be displayed once the appropriate selections are made. On the right side, you can see a data panel. This is where you can select the source of your data in the first field. This field lists all the data that you would have imported, all the modified data sets that would have been created in the data module. And if you have merged or pooled 2 data sets together, the pooled data will be listed here too. So I'm going to select the 1 per ID data set, and I will start defining some variables for the X and Y axis in the basic settings panel. So you can create 4 different plots. So you have 1 row per plot where you can define the X-axis. I'm going to select age. And you can select the Y-axis in the 3rd field. By selecting those X and Y variables, you start seeing a plot in the center region. Because the weight and age variable are both continuous, the ExploreLive module display a scatter plot. I will select weight versus, no, actually weight. I'm going to select as a Y variable, Y-axis variable, the creatine clearance. Again, both variables are continuous, so a scatter plot is displayed. You can see a pretty nice correlation between those 2 variables. Next, I will choose a categorical variable, sexfc, versus my weight. Well, actually, the weight versus the sexf. So sexfc is categorical, therefore the panel will show box plot for that. Finally, I'm going to select weight versus study C. So study C is a categorical variable, but because I've selected as the Y-axis, I'm still getting a scatter plot and not an horizontal box plot. So now that you have created your 4 plots, you can actually create less than those 4 and just 1 or 2. You can implement a lot of functionalities that are similar to the one offered in the scatter plot, box plot, bar chart functionality. So you can set some axis scale to some log scale. You can implement axis limits for both your X and Y axis. So for plot, the first plot, the second, the third, and the fourth. This requires that you provide both X minimum and maximum value. Actually, yes, you need both values. Otherwise, nothing is implemented. You can also provide some transformation function for the X and the Y axis. Literally the same functionality that you had in scatterplot and that we illustrated in a separate video. You can provide reference lines, again, exactly the same as what you had in the scatterplot module or submodule. You can provide a horizontal lines, vertical lines. You can provide multiple horizontal lines, 10, 20, 50, 80. All the values must be separated by commas, and they will be displayed on the panel. You can also choose to display a slanted line by providing an interval, an intercept, and a slope. So here you can see a unit line actually showing that there's not exactly a one-to-one relationship between weight and CRCL, which is to be expected. So those are the basics, the basic functionality that allow you to modify the data. We'll now display or illustrate the use of the cross functionality. Cross-interactivity, sorry. So if you click on a data point on any of those panels, so in this case, I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to try to, actually, you cannot click. You need to click on the mouse, drag to create a selection area, and this will select the data point. In this case, I actually have 2 points. And what happened is that you not only select the data point in the original plot, but that data point or that record gets also highlighted in the other 4 panels. So now you know you can investigate whether this outlier CRCL value is also a kind of an odd point in the other plot. That doesn't seem to be the case. For example, is this value also kind of odd from the other point of view? You can keep on selecting data points, and these points will be selected in the other panels, but information is also reported in this selected data panel that shows up. By default, you will get a list of all the variables that have been used on any of the 4 panels. But if you need to have more information, more variables, you can return to the data panel and select, for example, the subject identifier variable, maybe another variable that would be relevant for your data set. In my case, I have a num variable, which is an index. It apparently is an index at reset within a subject, so all my subject had a num value of 1, and now I can have a better understanding of what information is associated with this selected data point. The selected data panel provide two buttons. The first one allow you to copy the content of this small table, and now you can paste that content into a spreadsheet like Excel or any kind of text processor, and that will allow you to further investigate or use the information that you had in the ExploreLive module. If you click on the reset button, all the selection will be removed and the selected data panel closes. So those are the basic functionality: selection of variables, modification of the axis, and the selection of data points, and how the cross-interactivity operates across the different panels. There are some advanced settings that you can use in this module. You can choose to use a variable to stratify within a panel. If you're using a continuous variable, you'll get these gradients of color. If you transform this continuous variable into a categorical variable using this field on the data panel, so I'm going to select those. Now that those will become categorical, and different colors will be used to represent the data. You can also change the whisker limit or the multiplier that is applied for box plot whiskers. The default is 1. We've explained the concept of IQR in the tutorial relative to box plots. So I will invite you to watch that video to understand this field. It's something that controls how the whiskers extend from the box. The higher the value, the higher the further away the whiskers would go. Transparency is controlling how the data is displayed in the scatter plot. So a transparency of 0 means that pretty much you don't see anything. If you choose a 0.25, the data points are showing with a little bit of transparency, or a lot of transparency actually, 0.5, a little bit more. So if you have a lot of data points, playing with the transparency can help visualizing where most of the data is. Otherwise, if you use a transparency of 1, there's pretty much no transparency at all. So any data point that is on top is hiding anything that is below. Finally, the show notches is also something specific to box plots. We've also covered that topic in the box plot tutorial video. Selecting no will hide the notches in the boxes. Data subset is a functionality covered in a separate tutorial video entitled subsetting data or data subset. The functionality is literally the same as the one presented in this video. So I invite you to watch that separate video to learn about how to use this tab. The graphical settings is the last tab in the advanced setting panel. It provides two fields. One is this darkness slider. If you choose to use a value closer to 0, the background color would go for a lighter shade. If you go for a value closer to 100, a darker shade will be used. So depending on your preferences, your vision, you may want to use a different value of darkness. The Graphical theme is something that controls mostly the color and the lines, how they're used and shown. The first two themes are KIWI and KIWI Solid. I believe that they're fairly similar. Yes, these two themes mostly differ for the scatter and line plot module or submodule. The last theme is called ggplot2. It is the default color scheme of the ggplot2 library, which is the this graphical engine that we use to create those plots. So people familiar with ggplot2 sometimes prefer using this this color scheme. Finally, the link plots submodule also allow you to download the plots. This is a feature covered in a separate tutorial video, which I invite you to watch. So with that, this concludes our presentation of the link plots submodule. If you have any questions, please refer to the KIWI user manual, or you can send us questions at kiwisupport@cognitioncorp.com. Thank you very much.